Hi guys, can anyone hear me? Testing, testing, as usual. Let me know if you can hear me, guys. And obviously let me know if you can see me as well. Okay, the chats are coming in, so you can all see me and you can all hear me. Is that a go? Yep, excellent. And how's the sound? Is the sound okay as well? Loud and clear, brilliant. Excellent. Sorry about the delay, guys. 2 minutes before I started going live, I had to restart the computer, and this computer is running really slow just now, so I had to reboot it, and that's me just back up and running now. So we're 11 minutes behind schedule, but I'm going to try and stay on here for just over an hour, so try and get some questions and answers done. A lot of you probably know that I did a few videos related to some of the questions that you guys have been asking me lately, and I only done like one question and answer per video because I wanted to get in depth with them, and I'm still going to do that in the future. But I did get a lot of interesting questions that I'm going to go through on my phone, but I'm also going to answer some of your questions as well, guys. So let me just scroll back to the chat, and we'll start answering a few questions. Big G, he's donated €2, so thanks very much for that. So I'll do your question first, of course. And you've asked, why does Myers walk slow in every film? And that's a great question, Big G, because I don't think there was any reason for it, because he doesn't walk slow in the first movie. He is just creeping around in the first movie, so he wasn't intentionally walking slow in that film. In Halloween 2 with Dick Warlock's Michael Myers, I don't know what they were saying to him. I don't know what scenes they were trying to copy from part 1, but they went with it and they made Myers walk slow. I think it helped, to be honest. Sometimes when there's a bad guy walking slow, it can be quite frightening. And they ran with that for the rest of the series, but I don't think they intentionally made him walk slow from the beginning. But it's a great question. McAvoy Production asks, do you think we will see Michael Myers' face in the next 2 films? I think we might see his face similar to what we saw in the 2018 movie. Not directly in his face, and if you do see his face, I think it's going to be from a distance, or maybe blurred out, or from the back or whatever. Horror Minx asked, since Julian will be back, do you think his character will have growth and be traumatised? No, I don't think so. Well, maybe. He seems like the sort of kid who won't really be traumatised by things, and that is a little bit strange to say because most people are traumatised by what happened in that movie. I don't know if he's just going to be a comic relief again. I enjoyed his character. I know some people didn't like his character, but I quite enjoyed his character, so yeah, I hope we do see him in a better capacity. And that's on a good note, guys. You can probably hear an aeroplane passing by. You will hear that every 5 minutes or so. I am in my loft, and the window is just right there, so when aeroplanes go past, it's just really loud. Corey asked, what's your favourite mask from the series? My favourite mask is the original mask. It's up there. You can't see it, but it's up there anyway. The original mask is my favourite. The Halloween H2O mask was my favourite for quite a while. But as I grew up, as I grew older and watched the movies over and over again, I think the original one is my favourite. Bowtie, is it Bowtie or Boutique? Do you think Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends will both take place on the same night? I don't know if it was you that asked the question in my chat, but somebody asked that question anyway, and that was one of the ones I was going to pick for one of my videos, and I decided not to do that, so I'm glad you've asked the question. Do I think it will take place over the same night? I don't think so, but I think we will see the events of 2018 in both movies, whether that be for the full movie or such a capacity, maybe a small capacity. That's obviously not confirmed yet, but I think we will see the events of 2018 throughout the course of the 3 movies, but for them all to take place in the same night will be quite risky, but also understandable because Michael is, after all, 61 years old, so he's moving along. So if they do set it on the same night, I can understand why they would. David Newton has asked, I've tried to avoid any Halloween kills and end spoilers, if any. Have they finished shooting both films or just kills? They've just finished filming Halloween Kills just now, and they've not confirmed if they're shooting them back to back or together. They've probably shot some scenes for Halloween Ends, but I think depending on how the audience receive Halloween Kills, they might go back to the cutting board, they might go back to filming different scenes for Halloween Ends. So they've definitely not completed Halloween Ends, but I don't know if they've started shooting intentionally for Halloween Ends. No doubt we'll see some footage from the first two movies of the David Gordon Green trilogy in Halloween Ends. That might be what we've got so far. So I'm just scrolling down, guys. I'm way behind just now already. Justin has asked, how are you today, Barry? Not a Halloween question, but I'm glad you asked. I'm doing good today. It is Friday, after all, Justin. I've just finished work, so I'm going to hopefully have a good weekend. Cephas Graham has said, I read the leaked Halloween Kills script last night. I don't want to really read this out loud just in case. Okay, you've not spoiled anything. So, Cephas has said, I read the leaked Halloween Kills script last night, which seems to be legitimate due to the production photographs released last year fitting into the narrative. Have you read it, and what are your thoughts? I haven't read it, I won't read it, and I'm not sure if it's real or not. I'm assuming that it is real, which is why I'm not reading it. If somebody... I could potentially write a script for Halloween Kills based on the images and the footage that I've seen, so it's not hard to fake what you might have saw, but I've decided not to read it. I've decided not to do a video about it either, because I don't want to do... I like to do Halloween updates, and I like to try and spoil things that we've officially seen from Blumhouse, because those are official, and they're things that they want us to see, and they're things that they want us to talk about. Whereas the leaked script, if it is real, then it's been leaked by someone who shouldn't really have a job in that company, and it's just a shame. But no, I won't read it. If anybody wants to talk about the leaked script, all I could do is recommend that maybe talk to each other behind the scenes. I don't want any spoilers going on in this chat, guys, because people will be seeing this chat live. So please don't talk about what you've read if you have read the script. Aaron has asked, do you think if Nick Castle had played Myers throughout the series, would it have improved any films or the series? No, I don't think so. I think, at the end of the day, he's the man behind the mask, and that's all. His movements do help sometimes. I think that James Jude Courtney's performance as Myers was great, so I think it does help in a capacity, but with the storyline that they had with some of the Halloween movies, I don't think it mattered who was behind the mask. Would it improve any of them? I think maybe Halloween 2 it would have improved, because it would have felt more seamless, because Nick Castle played Myers in the first movie, and it's obviously a continuation of that, so that's it. Gabberman has asked, do you think Michael Myers is autistic? I saw some theories that that say he has some sort of autism. Well, they didn't really talk about autism back in the 1970s. It's only new these days. So to add in autism would be a bit much now. I think we can forget about what his disability is. All we know is he is a mental patient that escaped a sanitarium, and that's it. So he's definitely got some sort of issue. Otherwise he wouldn't be doing what he's doing. McAvoy Production has asked, do you think they will ever make Freddy versus Jason versus Myers, and who wins? I've said this time and time again, guys, Michael Myers doesn't belong in a versus movie. Versus movies are only for cheap movies like A Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, movies that don't take themselves too seriously, and that is Freddy and Jason. Their movies don't take themselves too seriously anymore, especially the Jason franchise. So I don't think Michael Myers would fit into that. He's too good for that, to be honest. Backdraft has asked, Barry, do you think if James Jude Courtney has a similar performance to Halloween 2018 that he will go down as the best Myers in the franchise? I think he did a phenomenal job. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as much as we love Nick Castle, he was only Michael Myers for one movie. We wouldn't really count him as Michael Myers in the 2018 movie. He's just there for a bit of nostalgic factor. So yeah, I think James J. Courtney did a phenomenal job, and if he continues to do that for the next 2 movies, then why not? He would officially be playing Myers the longest, 3 movies. So yeah, he could go down as, if not the best, one of the best. Ryan Bentley has asked, would have loved Brian Andrews to be in this movie. Would have been more complete, I think, but I'm excited to see Anthony Michael Hall take on this role. Also, what role do you think Charles Cyphers will play in this movie? Well, first of all, I'm glad Brian Andrews isn't part of this movie, because he's a terrible actor. He's not acted for years, and he's probably a nice guy. And he did talk to me a few times back and forth on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and he actually stole one of my images as well. But he doesn't seem to be with it anymore. He's not a sound person. I think he's taken himself off social media now as well. He's not in a good way, so he would have been a terrible choice for Tommy. As for Charles Cyphers, it's good to bring him back. What role do I think he's going to play? I just think he's going to be playing a retired Sheriff Brackett. That's about it. He could be a security guard at the hospital. I don't think he's going to be in it for a long period of time, because he doesn't really act anymore. Bo, yeah, it was you that asked that question. Excellent. So like I said, Bo, I was going to use that as one of my questions, but I'm glad you asked it there. And I might even see it in this when I go through this. A Burrito has asked, when does Halloween Kills come out? Easy answer is October 16th. Everywhere. Jason Hernandez, will John Carpenter be part of the next 2 movies? Yes, he is. He's playing the producer role again, and hopefully he will be, I think he is, confirmed as doing the score again and the soundtrack. So looking forward to hearing more new things from John Carpenter. If I see a question, guys, that I've already answered, I'm going to skip it. And if you do want to know the answer for it and you joined us late, all the more reason to go back and watch my video live and make me more money. David Newton, yeah, I think a lot of people have the same opinion as you. Some people thought they spoiled too much in the movie, and I agree to an extent. I think I saw what I wanted to see. Maybe a little bit too much with maybe the body over the sheet, because if you analyse trailers like I do, you pause it and look at certain things that maybe they didn't want you to see and they didn't realise after they released the trailer. So I completely get that some people don't want to see that. Anthony Wood has asked, hey, we see how the killings affect people from 1978 in Halloween 2018, but we never heard about how this affected the parents of Michael and when he killed Judith. Well, that's a really good question. In fact, where are Michael's parents? He's obviously went into that mental home, and that's the last we saw of them. If we disregard anything that happened in the sequels, they're obviously not with us anymore, I'm guessing. Because if Michael's 61 in the movie, they'll be in their late 80s, So if they are still alive, it'd be good to hear what they think about their son. But that would be giving us too much backstory. Golden Boy, you've asked, do you think it was a mistake killing off Will Patton's character in Halloween 2018? Yes, that's one of the biggest mistakes of the movie. And in fact, that whole scene was a big, massive mistake with what happened with Sartain and with what happened with Hawkins. So yeah, I think Will Patton's character should not have been killed off. I think he was a great character. Will Patton is a great actor as well. And I think it would have been good to explore his character for this movie, because we could have seen what he looked like back in 1978. We could have seen him arresting Michael Myers in 1978. That might still happen in this movie. We might see a de-aged Will Patton, but they've made a massive mistake by killing him, because he's a great character and a great actor. I've got sniffles, guys, sorry. Rumour has it there will be a trailer for Super Bowl. I believe it's too soon, but what are your thoughts? Yes, it's too soon. It's not going to happen. Also, Blumhouse wouldn't put that money into Halloween for the Super Bowl because it's the wrong time of year to release a trailer. And if they do, they'll be spending big for a movie that doesn't cost a lot. So I don't know what it would do for the movie, because they never done it in the original, in the 2018 Halloween, and it's still made over $250 million. So I don't think they need to bring out a Super Bowl trailer. I don't think it would benefit anyone. It would benefit me because I'd love to see it, but I don't think that's going to happen. Billy Badass. They better not have Laurie stalking Michael again. Absolutely agree. That's one of the other things I didn't like about this, about the hunted becoming the hunter. It was too cheesy. Bo, you've asked, do you think that Halloween Kills will focus on Tommy and Lindsay and end with Michael arriving at Haddonfield Memorial for his showdown with Laurie taking place in Halloween Ends? I don't know. That could happen. Having a focus on Tommy and Lindsay, I don't think they should do that because we've got this build-up of Alison's character. Why not focus on Alison more than characters who are just coming back? I think we should explore those two. I don't see Lindsay having a massive role in the movie. I think Tommy is going to be one of the main characters. I don't know. I think we need to see more information before we can answer questions like that. What's your least favourite Halloween film? C-Dub has asked. It does change from time to time, guys. I think at the moment, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is the worst, because it was an absolute abomination of a movie. But Resurrection is there. Halloween 5, almost there. But those are the three worst movies in the franchise. But Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, is unforgivable. Terrible movie. Plus, if you want to see my complete list, you can check it out on my channel. Leandro Dosol. Sorry, I've butchered your name. You've asked, is Michael Myers your favourite horror villain? Yeah, I would say so. He must be. I never thought about it. Halloween's my favourite horror movie. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Michael. John Doe has asked, is the male investigator reporter, forgot the character's name, his name's Aaron, is Aaron going to play the role of Loomis in Halloween 4 after he got his face bashed in? It would make sense as a nod to Loomis's burnt face in Halloween 4. Well, yeah, he could do. He could be the one that's on the lookout for Michael Myers if he survived. I know there's a lot of debate as to whether he survived or not, and people are blaming me for having that idea. I'm sorry, guys, but I got asked the question and I felt like answering that question, and it was my opinion. But I think there's a good chance that Aaron is still alive, and if he's on the lookout for Myers because of what he done to Dana, I think that'd be very interesting. Have a few scars on his head, things like that. If it doesn't take place on the same night, we've got to remember, if it does take place on the same night, and if Aaron did survive, then he's going to be in the hospital in a coma. So we can rule him out if it's set in the same night. Grant Sutherland has asked, will the three bullies from the 78 movie team up with Tommy this time around? No. I think Lonnie might team up with him, or he might save Lonnie. And they might kind of do a callback to what happened in the original when they were bullying him. Maybe Lonnie's going to be outside one day and Myers is going to come up to him and Tommy comes up with a baseball bat, as we saw in the images, and maybe saves his life to get away for a bit. Or Tommy sees Lonnie dying, I don't know. But yeah, I think they're going to have an interaction anyway. The other two bullies, unfortunately one of them passed away in real life, I think. And the other one is, what's his name again? Ivan something? Can't remember. Oh, It just escaped me. But yeah, I don't think they're going to be in the next one. Gabberman has asked, do you think Halloween Kills will be the highest grossing horror movie this year? I don't know. It's not going to make as much as the 2018 movie, I don't think. You know, people say that the 2018 movie made $250 million, so this one's going to make $500 million, and it's not going to happen. I said the exact same thing with It Chapter 2. It Chapter 1 made $700 million, and there was talk of the next movie making $1 billion, and I was like, no chance is it going to get anywhere near $1 billion, and lo and behold, it only made under half of that, made like $430 million. So I don't think this one's going to make over $250 million. It'll make a lot of money. I think if any of them is going to make any more money than the 2018 movie, it might be Halloween Ends. But again, that depends on how good or bad Halloween Kills is. Brian Hills has asked, would you like to see Judith Meyer's boyfriend from the 1978 film return in Halloween Kills? No, I wouldn't want to see him, to be honest. I think we've got too much nostalgia going on, too many characters returning for no purpose whatsoever. So I think if he returned, that would be the end of it. There's no reason for him to return. So no, I wouldn't like to see him return. I'm going to sneeze. Oh, bless me. Oh, I'm cutting down to the super chat, guys. Sorry. Chris Baber. Chris and I talk quite a lot. We have a lot of heated debates, I can call it. But Chris has said, do you think they use a Nelson mask for the flashbacks of the new is that Trick or Treat Studios mask with reworked finish? I don't know. I think they completely overhauled this mask. Well, they made it from scratch. They made that mask from scratch by Christopher Nelson, and I think Christopher Nelson did a fantastic job, and I think he's going to do the same again. I think he's going to completely rework it from images and probably molds from the first movie, but because that was a William Shatner mask originally, they have to rework it again like he done with that one there. So I think they're going to rework it, and they're going to hopefully make it spot on. But good question, Chris, because not a lot of people talk about the designs of masks. Grant Sutherland has said, with the flashbacks being prominent in Halloween Kills, will we get a taste of the original scores for that old school flavour? I hope so, Grant, because that was what was missing in the new movie. As much as I loved the new score by John Carpenter, it was slightly missing that old score, and I'm hoping we hear the old score, and if we don't hear it in the flashbacks, I hope we hear it somewhere throughout the movie. So, next question. David Newton, do you think we will see any more of Sartain in the next two movies, perhaps in flashback sequences? For that matter, is it possible... Oh, it skipped me. I hate it when it does this. Oh yeah. For that matter, is it possible will we see Loomis in flashbacks? I think that a lot of people will hate the fact that Loomis been in... Like, people wouldn't like Loomis being in it for some reason. I wouldn't mind. I'd love to see Dr. Loomis again. Whereas Sartain, hopefully we don't see any more of Sartain. I think if one thing that David Gordon Green has taken away from the 2018 movie is that Sartain was a bad idea. 99% of people who watched the movie didn't like that Sartain twist. Was it a twist? I don't know. Nobody liked that, so I'm hoping that they can just wash their hands with that and just don't talk about it again. The money, Darren S has said, the money for a Super Bowl ad would be around 50% of Halloween Kills budget. Never going to happen. I agree, Darren, and that's why I said that there's no reason for them to do that. The movie cost, let's say the movie cost $15 million. I know the 2018 one cost $10 million. Let's say we bump the budget up a bit to $15 million because it's a sequel that's successful, or a successful franchise or whatever. A Super Bowl ad cost about was it $3 million or something like that? And I just don't see the point, especially when the movie cost $50 million. If the movie cost $150 million, then I would see the point in a Super Bowl ad. But like Darren said, there's no point. Absolutely no point. Burrito, do you think Laurie should die in one of these movies? Yes, I do. I think she should die. If she doesn't die, though, I won't be angry. I just think she should die. I think a character needs to die. At the hands of Michael, I would prefer that, yeah. I wouldn't like to see her die old in her bed. I want some real drama. No dramas. Bo, you've said, I'd love to see them focus on Alison more. She was a great character. Yeah, I really liked Alison. I was actually pleasantly surprised by Alison's character as to how much I enjoyed her character. So I think they should focus on her because that's what it's all about. It's about Laurie's grandkids now. She's got a grandkid who was 17, ironically. So yeah, I think they should focus on her. Backdraft has said, Rob Zombie claims to love the original Halloween, but if you listen to him talk about it in interviews, it's clear to me he doesn't really understand the original concept of the characters. Yeah, I think Rob Zombie has watched the movie, tried to analyse it too much, and taken too much from it, and given too much of his own theory towards Michael Myers, and he ran with that with his remake. As much as the 2007 movie was actually not bad, there was too much information, too much gore, too much hillbilly. I just think that it wasn't a Halloween movie, and I think he overanalyzed the whole thing. John Doe has asked, was there too much humour in the 2018 film? Should they tone it down for sequels? No, I don't think so. I don't think there was too much humour. There was two characters that people had a problem with, and that was Julian and Ray, and I had no problem with either of their humour. Julian, for example, I thought he was hilarious, and also Ray, this whole issue that people have with, I got peanut butter all over my penis, that's a lot less cringeworthy than what we saw at the breakfast scene in Rob Zombie's remake. I'm a father. I've got a daughter and a son. I probably wouldn't say it to my daughter just now because she's only 4 years old, but when my daughter's 16 years old, when she gets embarrassed by things like that, I would say something like that just to annoy her and just to embarrass her. So he was a realistic dad, a realistic father, so I don't have a problem with his humour. His humour was very down to earth and very father-like. Vanderhoff has said, hey Barry, great show, thanks very much. I'm Dave, the one who James Grimm is really rehauling my Halloween 2 and Halloween H2O masks. Oh, nice to meet you, Vanderhoff. Let me show you something, okay? This is my H2O mask. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's terrible. So James is great at rehauling masks. You know, I've watched his stuff for ages, and he's one of the best that I've ever seen. So your mask is in great hands, and if it looks any better than that, then you're on to a winner. Louis Phillips has said, do you think the new Texas Chainsaw movie will be of the same vein as the new Halloweens? It's not really a Halloween question, but it's got Halloween relation to it, so I will answer it, Louis. I would say that you couldn't go wrong with the next Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. They've went in a really bad way with the last two Texas Chainsaw movies that anything can be an improvement on Texas Chainsaw 3D and Leatherface. So if they take the direction that Halloween did, again, then it might work, because you've got to remember Texas Chainsaw 3D tried that. They tried to make it a sequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it was awful. How's it going, Jason Wiley? David James, one of my biggest supporters on my channel. So if you're still here, David, I know the question, you've said hello like maybe 10 minutes ago or something, David, but Happy New Year to you, sir. It's a little late, David. It's the 24th of January, but Happy New Year to you, David. I don't think we've spoken since the end of last year, so it's nice to hear from you again. C. Martin, what's the biggest thing you'd change in 2018 Halloween? The biggest thing I changed is Sartain, for him not to exist. I don't want him to exist. I think he was a bad idea. His scene at the beginning was fine. Like, I'm the doctor, I'm looking after Michael after Dr. Loomis died. Even to the point where the bus crashed and he was on the bus. See, if he died on the bus, then that was it. Fine. Absolutely fine. But the fact that he survived the bus crash, I thought to myself, oh, is he going to play a bigger role? And then when we found out why he was playing that big role, I was like, wow, that's shocking. The good thing is, he's not coming back. C. Martin has also said, where could Halloween possibly go after this trilogy? I'm a big fan, but what could they possibly do after this? Well, it's the end of the Laurie Strode saga, so they can go anywhere after this. They can continue on with a new storyline, with a new victim. But are they going to have the same Michael in the same universe? I don't think so, because Michael is too old. The character's too old to have it, unless they set it back in the 70s again, which I wouldn't mind, as long as it gives a new good story that wouldn't tie in to the original franchise, because that would mess it up a little bit. So keep it separate, keep it a completely different storyline, and I'd be happy with that. C. Martin again, sorry, I've just go. This is a good mention. C. Martin has said, can't stand his vision of the remake. Way too much of his vision. It wasn't a Halloween movie to me. Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. I'm not too far behind them, guys, because I want to try and get into some of my questions that I had before as well. Ryan House has asked, do you think it was disappointing we didn't see Michael Myers in a jumpsuit as well as his ripped mask in the Rob Zombie Halloween 2? Is it disappointing that are you asking if it's disappointing that we didn't see? Because that's what we did see. We saw him with a ripped mask. I don't understand, sorry. Mr. Jackson has said, do you think they will recap and show the ending of the 2018 Halloween movie at the beginning of Halloween Kills, like they did in the original sequel? Yeah, I think they will. I think they'll try and make it in the same vein as the original sequel, to how they showed it, like maybe the first 5 minutes or so. Because I think if there will be some people going into this movie not seeing that movie again, maybe they only watched it once in the cinema in 2018, so it's a good refresher for everyone, just in case you didn't watch it again. I don't need the refresher because I've watched it for 7-8 times or something now. Or, that's a lie, 4 or 5 times. John Doe has said they couldn't improve Alexandra Daddario, though. That's absolutely correct, John. I'd love to see Alexandra Daddario in a Halloween movie. In fact, I'd love to see Alexandra Daddario in any movie. Jason Wiley has said, I hope Alison has her time to shine in Kills. Yeah, me too. Swifty the Gamer, do you want mayonnaise on your sandwich? How about mustard? Mayonnaise, please. '49ers fan, would you like Michael Myers better with all 10 fingers? All 10 of his fingers? Doesn't bother me. He'll just use his other hand, to be honest. He'll be very capable with 7 fingers anyway. We can call him 7-Up. Chris Baber, I would love to see Sheriff Brackett run into the current awful sheriff and teach him a thing or two about respecting Myers. Yep. I think the sheriff is laughing. He was laughing in the last movie. He's not taking it seriously. Even after the body count was picking up, he was still like, hey, I don't care. John Terrace, hi Barry, who do you think taught Michael how to drive? Nobody taught Michael how to drive, he taught himself. Well, he was doing very well last night. Gav Fagan, hi, do you know why Carpenter never returned to direct any of the sequels? I think he was about to direct Halloween 2 until he had to pull out or something, and he's not a massive fan of directing sequels to any movie. You probably noticed that. He doesn't do sequels, and he also wasn't in favour of the storyline. He didn't really like it, even though he wrote some of it. He wasn't a massive fan of taking that character forward, but when money talks, he will come back, and he said that himself. He loves money, and that's why he's doing these new movies. Charlie Dark, hey Wolfman, how do you want to see Michael die in Halloween Ends? Is he going to die? He might not. But if I see him dying, you can't get any more epic than the ending to Halloween H2O. And if he is going to die, we have to make sure there's no way to bring him back. Like, oh, the bodies were switched. Take that mask off him. Let's see his face, and then let him die, and see his eyes close or whatever. If he's going to die, though, it needs to be epic. Jason Wiley said, do you think the filmmaker saw Dave's sequel concept video and took ideas? Probably not. I think the producers or anybody involved in Halloween, the last place they're going to look for ideas is YouTube, which is quite sad because there's a lot of great ideas with people on YouTube, especially hardcore fans like Dave. I'm assuming you're talking about Dave McRae. So he's got some great ideas, but YouTube wouldn't... the production companies just wouldn't come to YouTube for that sort of idea. They've got brains behind the scenes, and their ideas are probably going to be better than ours anyway, but it is good to see some of our ideas. And I think if Dave or anybody else has an idea, they should make their own fan film, and Dave has done that, and other people should do it as well. If you've got an idea that you think is good, make a fan film if you can, and prove to people that your idea is better than the real thing. Swifty the Gamer, what do you think will happen after Halloween Ends? Will they reboot again? Maybe make Halloween Returns? Oh, sorry, I've answered that question. Sorry, guys. But since I've asked the question, I'll answer it. I think if they finish Halloween Ends at that storyline's finished, they'll bring Michael Myers back again, whether he died or not, and give him a new timeline. That's what I think. Lee Roberts, what do you think of Danny McBride as a writer on Halloween movies? Doesn't bother me. It doesn't matter what their background is. If you can write, it doesn't matter if it's comedy, horror, thriller, romance, whatever. If you can write, then it shouldn't be a problem. If you have a problem with writing a specific genre, then you probably shouldn't be a writer. So I have faith. I think he's done well so far, and he's not done much to make me worried. C. Martin has said, Wolfman, thank you for your commentary. My go-to for Halloween content. Thanks very much, C. Martin. I tried my best. I know that not the language barrier, but the accent barrier could be a bit much for people. So I'm glad that for those of you who are not from Scotland, I'm glad that you can understand me, hopefully. And if you don't understand me, watch Braveheart or Trainspotting. The usual cliche Scottish movies. Jason, Wolfman, where in the UK are you from? I am from Sheffield in England. Not far from you, Jason. I'm from Glasgow, Scotland. Not too far. Glasgow, one of the shopping capitals of the world. Get your Stephen King Rules t-shirt. Bo, with an expanded budget, do you think we'll see more of Haddonfield in the new films? I think the expanded budget is to give some of the cast a bigger pay because of how successful the first movie is. Any more of that budget, I think, is going to go down to doing the flashback scenes, because they needed to get a lot of old stuff, like old cars, and I'm assuming that they're going to do some de-aging with some of the characters, possibly, unless it's just kids they're using. But I think there might be a bit of de-aging involved, and some computer graphics that they need to do, so they will need to pay a bit more for this. But yeah, if we're seeing more of Haddonfield, which I want to see, then yeah, I think they'll have to spend a bit more to redo what they've done in the 1978 movie. Like, give us Haddonfield 1978. We need to see more of that. Swifty has said, can't wait for the next Halo stream. Yep, me too. We'll be doing that on hopefully next weekend, either Friday night or Saturday night. So it's me, Drum Dums, Lee, Dave McRae, Jimmy Champagne, and we watched the movie. So hopefully all 5 of us can get back on again. So look out for that next weekend, guys. I'm looking forward to that one. Thoughts on Halloween 3 by A Burrito. I really like Halloween 3. It's in the middle of my Halloween franchise. It's not the best and it's not the worst. I think it's in between. And if you take away the fact that it's a Halloween movie, just seeing it as Season of the Witch, I think it's a really strong horror movie of the 80s. Cephas Graham has said, would you like to see a comedy sitcom called Young Michael, similar to Young Sheldon, following the exploits of Michael Myers, who keeps killing the family dog? Yes, I would like to see that in the same vein as Young Sheldon. I think that would be quite hilarious. And the actor that they bring in for Michael doesn't need to do a lot because he doesn't speak, so that would be very interesting, although it would never happen. Tom Ungarian, sorry, I'm butchering everyone's names. Wolf, you think a sequel to Halloween 4 with Daniel Harris should be the next reboot idea down the road? No, I don't think so. I don't think they're going to reboot any of the timelines that we've had previously in the Halloween franchise. I think they'll bring nods to those, but I don't think we'll get direct sequels to those because I think that it's too much. And if it does happen, I'm all for it. You know, I'll be champion every one of them, but I think it's a little bit too much. I think they're not going to do that. But if we have a Danielle Harris led Halloween movie, I'm all for it. Danielle Harris is a good actress, although she has had a bit of an issue with the new movie. Jason has said Braveheart is one of my favourites. That James Horner score is masterful. Yeah, I agree. Although I think his best score for me was in Titanic. That was haunting. Jason said, get Cecil from the horror show on the stream. I'd love to have Cecil on the stream, my stream or anyone's stream. Cecil is a very knowledgeable guy when it comes to horror, especially the Freddy franchise, as you all know, with his work on Dylan's New Nightmare. He's a very talented guy and he puts a lot of dedication into his videos, so I'd love to have him on my stream, his stream, anybody's stream. Really good guy. Jason has also said a Halloween series like Castle Rock would be amazing, where all the stories are loosely connected. Yeah, I mean that could be another way of putting the Daniel Harris story, like the Thorn trilogy, into one storyline. Season of the Witch, anything that happened after that, the Resurrection storyline, whatever storyline you want, put them all intertwine them all together in a Castle Rock style TV show. That's a good idea. David said, speaking of Stephen King, he's infamous for making cameo appearances in film adaptations of his book. Would it be cool to have John Carpenter do a cameo in Kills Or Ends? I think it would be good to have John Carpenter in one of those movies, because John Carpenter does pop up now and again in movies that he directs. I don't know if you've noticed him in any of these movies, but he pops up now and again. The last movie that I watched with him making a cameo was Village of the Damned. He was the guy in the phone box. You can see his ponytail. You're like, oh, that's John Carpenter. I always forgot John Carpenter didn't direct Halloween 3 because it feels like a Carpenter film. It does feel like a Carpenter film. That feels like more of a Carpenter film than Halloween 2, in my opinion. Vanderhoff, if Halloween H2O used the mask in the opening scene throughout the movie and it was set in Midwest town somewhere else, would have been so much better. Oh, you tell me it would have been so much better. I disagree with you. And the reason being is because I actually love the Stan Winston mask, the one that you're getting done up. That is one of my favourite masks in the franchise. And I've explained the reasons why I like the big holes in it, because Michael is not a mystery anymore. He's after his sister, so we need to see that connection between brother and sister. for it being set in the school, I don't mind that either, because who is going to be on the run from their psycho brother in their own hometown or somewhere else that looks like that? Just set it anywhere else and that makes sense. So I think H2 is perfect. Just my opinion. Apart from all the masks that they used. But that's a production issue, not a movie issue. Big G, why is Resurrection hated so much? I like it. Take your pick, Big G. Some people do like it, and I don't knock them for that, because it is a Michael Myers movie after all. And we've got a Michael Myers house that looks like a Michael Myers house as well, although it looks a little bit bigger inside when you're there. But I hate reality TV in movies, especially horror movies, and that's just a bad storyline overall. So yeah, there's so many things wrong with Resurrection. Trick or treat, motherfucker! All that stuff. Come on. Ugh. Toe Cutter. Hi Barry, all the best from Liverpool. Do you think they will ever make a Halloween 9? I don't know. I don't think so. Like I said earlier on, I don't think they're going to do sequels to any of the previous movies in the franchise. I think they will reboot each time. They'll reboot, give us 3 movies or whatever, stop that, and then give us another reboot again. I think they'll continue to do that. Like James Bond. Thomas said, I think the cinematography in Resurrection was solid. Again, that's great, but I hated the cinematography in it as well. I hated everything about Resurrection. Bo has asked, what was your favourite scene from Halloween 2018? I don't know. There was some really good scenes. I like the Oscar death scene. That was quite good, because I liked the way that they worked the camera. I liked the lights and stuff like that. And then I liked the score that came on. The shape stalks Alison, or the shape hunts Alison, I should say. And she saw him for the first time. Quite powerful scene. Dave James, he said, thoughts on the kind of damage we could see Michael Myers endure in kills? That could perhaps change things for ends. It can. And I don't think we'll see much damage, because if we do see too much damage, we're crossing that line again as to whether Michael is just human or something else. I think he's still human, and I think they want to portray him as a human. So I think they're going to try and keep it as human as possible. So if he gets any damage, hopefully it's not any more bullet wounds or fingers getting chopped off. I think I want to see minimal damage until we see him in Halloween Ends, and then you can go all out. Ryan said, I don't mind seeing Michael's eyes in H2 or Resurrection. I just wish he had a dead eye in Halloween 2018. Or like in Halloween 2018. Yeah, I mean, it depends how they wanted to go at the time with Halloween H2 or Resurrection. When somebody, you can look this up if you don't believe me, if somebody damages their eye in a bad way, whether it be with a knitting needle or a coat hanger, that can heal. And your eye can be back to normal. It might look a little different. Maybe the colour is bled over. Look at... This is a fun fact, guys. You know David Bowie? He's got 2 different colours of eyes, and people thought he had naturally 2 different colours of eyes. No, he didn't. He had an injury to his eye when he was younger. He was in a fight, and his eye got damaged so badly. But as he got older and as it healed, it was back to normal. It was just looked slightly different in colour. So it's not unreasonable for us to think that Michael's eye could have healed over time. So yeah, there you go. Fun fact all the way there. Stu23 has said, what are some of your favourite Halloween fan films? Well, my favourite so far is the one that Rene Rivas, he's going to kill me. The one he done last year, The Spirit of Haddonfield, that was really well done. 2 of my buddies, Brendan and James, are bringing out 2 fan films this year. I've not seen them yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing both of them. So there's so many fan films coming out these days because of what we've got access to. I'm not a massive fan of fan films all the time. Too many is maybe too much, but the right amount is good. David Newton has said Resurrection being set in a reality TV live stream was current at the time it was shot, and that's very true, David, but I would be very wary. And even at the time when they were filming this, I said to my friends that they're doing a reality TV like Big Brother. At the time we were massive with Big Brother in the UK, and that's what it was like. And I said that's a bad move, because in a couple of years' time, when there's no more Big Brother, it's going to look very outdated. And I was absolutely right. It's totally outdated now. So they should avoid technology in any horror movie, because after 5-10 years it looks outdated and it looks silly. The Shape Hunts Alison was epic. Yep, absolutely. Swifty says, you do a good job on your thumbnails. Thanks very much, Swifty. I am a photographer and I do editing, so I'm hoping that people like my thumbnails, because I professionally do that for a living. So yeah, thanks very much. Big G says, heard Kyle Richards gets down and dirty in Kills. That's worth the readout and worth the €2 for that, Big G. I don't think that's going to happen, and if she does, then who with? Tommy? I don't know. Vanderhoff, I don't think Laurie will die in Halloween Kills because they need her for box office numbers and Halloween Ends. Time will tell with that one. I personally don't mind it if Laurie's not there. But yeah, it makes sense that she's going to be in Halloween Ends as well. There's no point in killing her off in Halloween Kills, because it's a mini trilogy, as they call it. So yeah, it makes sense to keep her alive for Halloween Ends at least. Jason has said Resurrection concept would work well in a Saw film. Probably would, with all the TVs. Guys, I'm going to quickly go into some of these questions, because I'm almost an hour already and I'm not even getting to the questions that I was going to do, sorry. Lost for words. So I'm quickly going to go through these while I am waiting. So, and these might be some questions from you guys, so that would be quite cool. And again, if there's questions that I've already answered, I'm not going to read them out. So somebody's asked, Sinister Movie Reviews has asked, hi Barry mate, do you think Michael's mask in Halloween Kills will be slightly burnt with a bit of a melted look? I think realistically it should be with the fire at the end of Halloween 2018. Cheers mate. I'm going to put a love heart next to all the ones I've answered. So I think it should be slightly burnt, if not warm. If it looks a little bit different, that would be good. And for marketing purposes and resale purposes, I think they will make it look a little bit different, because we're going to have to buy a new mask as a fan. We're going to have to buy new figures as fans. So I know that probably doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but that does make sense in the movie business. They want to make money, and to make money, they have to change things up. So I think it will look slightly different. Same questions before. Blah, blah, blah. Fraser Brown has said, do you think Michael will get peanut butter on his penis? Also, now with 4 movies altogether in this new Halloween timeline, do you think the new storyline is in danger of dragging on a bit? I don't think it's in danger of dragging on, because they've confirmed that it will be the end and Halloween Ends. If they left it ambiguous at the end of Halloween Ends, I would agree with you, but they're confirming that this is it. This is the end of this storyline. So I don't think it's in danger of dragging on unless they try and drag it on at the end, but I don't think they will. So love the comment. Oh, now I'm getting all these questions, guys. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, here's a good question. Donnie Bowen has asked, I was wondering if they will show Michael finding and making his iconic mask in a flashback scene, like showing him looking at it with his head tilted and cutting out the eyes and painting it to look to his liking. That would be my question. I don't think they'll do that, but I think it would be interesting to see him picking up a mask from the hardware store that was broken into. That was done possibly in the early hours of the morning or overnight, so it would be good to see that in a flashback scene, but maybe not him painting it and cutting the eyes out. Let's assume that it came the way it did. Let's not assume that it's a Captain Kirk mask that he's stolen. Okay, so I'm going to have to stop these questions and go back onto you guys because I'm getting more questions in here. Blah, blah, blah. Scout Taylor Compton is a fit bird. Here's a true story, guys. Scout Taylor Compton was at a convention I was at last year, and I didn't get her autograph. I wasn't interested because I'm not a massive fan of the remake. But she's really nice person. I bumped into her, and she said hello to me a couple of times, and she smiled at me a few times. My wife's probably a little bit worried that she's going to take me away, but I think she liked me. No joke. Anyway, let's see. David, Barry, I know you collect figures. Are you looking forward to the new Loomis and Jamie figures recently announced? Yes, I am. I've done a video about it last month. Excuse me. I'm looking forward to those. I don't collect a lot of the clothed NECA figures, so it's just going to be a few in my collection. I'll actually show you my figures in a wee second, guys. So if you're still watching, David, this is my... That's my... Oh. Take my mic with me. There's Billy, and there's the nun, Valak. So that's the only two clothed figures that I've got. Let's put this back. So it's only two clothed ones that I've got. So yeah, to add a few more clothed ones to my collection would be great, to be honest. Big G, Jamie Lee must be getting a big piece of the pie to sign up for 3 films. She absolutely will be. And make no mistake about it, guys, as much as she tells you that she loves the new storyline, it's all for money, because she loved the H2O storyline as well, and that was all for money. She even didn't mind doing Resurrection because she got $5 million for it. That was all for money. So yeah, despite what she might say about H2O, she loved it at the time, and she loved getting paid at the time. And I hated it when she said she didn't like doing H2O, because all the way through the production she was only praising it, and that's what everybody does. David Joyce, do you think that they exposed Michael Myers' face too much in Halloween 2018? I didn't answer this one fully, but I don't think they did show too much. I think we saw enough to know that it's him, but not enough to know what he actually looks like. So we saw him in the distance, we saw that depth of field where we didn't see his face, we saw him side on in the back. We saw him enough to get teased and think, oh, are we going to see his face? And we didn't, so I liked that. What are you most excited about Halloween Kills? That's by JJ. The most exciting thing about Halloween Kills is not knowing exactly what's going to happen, and also seeing some returning characters, because returning characters can be a bad thing, but it could also be a really good thing. It's almost lining up to be a Fast and the Furious movie, where they're bringing characters back from all previous movies and bring them into one, sort of like Avengers as well. That's what this movie's shaping up to be like, and I'm hoping it doesn't let us down, so I'm excited for that. Right, guys, I've done almost an hour, so I'm going to cut it short in about 5 minutes. So I'll answer a few more questions, then we can start wrapping up. So Tom said, I like Danielle Harris better than Jamie Lee. She's nicer and true to the horror community. Jamie Lee trying to get paid. Well, it's not. I don't think that's true, because I think Danielle Harris isn't an A-lister like Jamie Lee Curtis. So Jamie Lee Curtis can afford not to go to these horror conventions. So Jamie Lee Curtis doesn't need to mingle with the fans. I think if Danielle Harris was on $5-10 million a movie, she wouldn't be going to horror conventions, and she wouldn't be sitting with the rest of us guys. So I think if roles were reversed, Jamie Lee would probably be the nicer person, and Danielle Harris would be a person that we wouldn't like. So money talks. Out of all the Halloween movies, which is your favourite kill? Connor has asked. I'm actually not going to answer that one, Connor, because I'm going to be doing an updated video this year of my favourite kills, including Halloween 2018. But if you want to see my current favourite kill, then you can check out one of my videos. Just search for, I've got a Halloween playlist, and that's in it, and it's basically my top 10 kills in the Halloween franchise. So please check it out, Connor. David Newton, this is a great question, and I have answered this before, but I will answer it in this live stream. You've asked, would you like to have seen anyone else direct the Halloween 2018 sequels other than David Gordon Green? If we had to take David Gordon Green away, I would love to have David Robert Mitchell. Was it Robert David Mitchell? David Robert Mitchell, let's call him that. He's the director of It Follows. Now, if he directed this movie, I think it would have been better. And what would have made it even better, well, maybe not better because John Carpenter's score was epic, but if we couldn't have John Carpenter either, I think that David Robert Mitchell should have brought on Disasterpiece, who he used in It Follows. If you've seen It Follows, you'll know exactly why they would be a perfect fit for a Halloween movie, and I'm hoping that after David Gordon Green is finished, they might consider David Robert Mitchell. Leandro has said, which is your favourite Michael Myers look? I like the sleek Michael Myers look. I don't like the big bulky Myers or the one with the shoulder pads or anything like that. So I prefer Halloween 1's Michael Myers. I prefer Halloween H2O's Michael Myers as well. And although the 2018 Myers is quite tall and bulkier, I still like that one as well. Foxy the Pirate, sup? You've came a little late, Foxy, because I'm about to wrap up, but welcome to the chat. Grant has said the hype for Halloween Kills is not as big this year as it was for 2018. Do you think this is because all the leaked images and returning characters spoilers? No, I think it's because we've already had an epic return. I think it's more of the same now. So I think there will be hype for it later on when we see more trailers and full trailers and stuff, and obviously closer to October. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as big as it was in 2018. Big G has asked, is the hot actress that kissed Alison's boyfriend going to be in Kills? Apparently not, but I'd love to see her in it because she is stunning. What's her name again? Let me just find her name, because I follow her on Instagram. She's not really an actress. She is the daughter of one of the set design. She's the daughter of one of the set designers. Her name is Angelina Sage, and she's stunning. And I follow her on Instagram, and she's absolutely beautiful. So yeah, if you like her, follow her on Instagram. This is her here. So she's absolutely beautiful. So yeah, her name is Alison Sage. Great seeing you, Barry. Cheers to Cutter. Like I said, guys, I'm heading out in a little minute. Why was Michael staring at Laurie through the window? Because that's the kind of person he seems to be. He sees someone that reminds him of his sister possibly, and he latches onto them just like he did with his sister in 1963, and he's probably saw Laurie and thought, I'm going to follow you. A Storm is Brewing has said, is Michael Myers supposed to be like a ghostly figure? Well, yeah, that's what John Carpenter says he is, but John Carpenter, you should always go by original interviews when it comes to knowing what a director's thinking, because when a director does an interview 20 years later or 40 years later about a movie that they directed, one, they can't remember much, and two, they only tell you what you think you want to hear most of the time, and that's what John Carpenter does. He tells you what you think you want to hear. So it's best to watch interviews back then to tell us what they were really thinking at the time and the reasons for doing things at the time. Everyone's entitled to go in the good scare. Absolutely. Foxy, do you like the look of Laurie? What? Do you like the look Laurie gave Michael when she shot off his two fingers? Well, she didn't look at him. It was through the floor, wasn't it? Lonnie's going to watch his son Cameron being killed seconds before Mike Myers butchers him too, I hope. That's a bit cruel, Grant. I actually like Cameron's character, and it wasn't that bad. He had some deleted scenes where it was bad, but I didn't find them bad. Leandro said, do you think Michael Myers just snapped when he first killed his sister the first time he was young, or do you think he planned this days or months before? I think he just snapped, personally. I think it was just a reason to give us a movie at the beginning of the movie. That's about it. I don't think there was too much put into the thought of the movie itself. I think the movie has a bigger message now than it did back then. So guys, that's me done now. I've went over my time. So thanks to everybody for asking me all these questions and interacting with me. It was really nice to talk to you all, and I don't do streams that often, as you know, so it's really good to get a good chat and a good talk on all things Michael Myers, all things Halloween. And also thanks to everyone who actually asked me the questions on here. I will do more of these as well, and I'll choose this is why I do like to do cut videos. I'll choose specific questions and do more in-depth answers for you as well. Again, my answers aren't like real answers. These are just my opinions. So yeah, that was it. So anyway, guys, I'm just reading some of the rest of them here. Great stream. When's the next vid? I've actually started recording. I'll tell you this before I go, guys. I started recording my movie reviews for the Wrong Turn franchise, which won't be done until possibly February, March time. So I'm currently working through them just now, doing a few Valentine's things, like Valentine the movie, possibly My Bloody Valentine, and I'm going to be doing this is something I've had planned for like 3 years now, originals versus remakes. I've planned on doing that as well, and I might start with My Bloody Valentine original and remake, so look out for those videos, guys. Nothing is coming out within the next couple of days, but look out next week for more new videos, and obviously look out for my live streams as well. I'm going to try and plan more of these and try and get some more free time so I can answer some questions and just have a good chat with everyone. But anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.